Link is the engine management solution for champions the world over. We know what it takes to win, pushing boundaries, performing under pressure, and having the best people on your team. Our tech support are performance specialists, available 24 hours and ready to talk one-on-one about your winning formula. Link ECU, the performance, reliability, and power to get to the podium.
GT Radio, experience ultra high performance.
Ain't nowhere to hide. You ain't gotta see me come and keep me on your mind. 'Cause I'll be on the way. Yeah. You know I'll be on the way. Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I'll be on the way. Yeah. I'm on the way. I'm on the way. On the way. Yeah. On the way. I'm on the way. I'm on the way.
For those who don't settle when others do, who will give everything but won't give up. For those who believe in unlimited while others limit themselves. For those who are set free by performance and believe innovation can take you anywhere.
Rockstar energy drink. This is Matt Wall, the twin turbo PWC. Tanner Fast going through the paces. Solid line here. Great angle.
Woo! Good initiation from Dot. Did you see that fake flick entry? Just gangster right there.
Good job right there by Osmo, but look at Odie Bocci's diving right in on the attack.
Conditioning now. Ryan Turf really needs to show up. He went off course. Tightens up to the front clip, as is Freddie.
The Norwegian hammer gets sweated by Denofa.
And then he just keeps on going past. And Frederick Osmo fills all that outside zone. Michael Esso right there. Look at him rolling tide. Here we go. Final outside zone line. Pretty straightforward.
Outside zone. Frederick Osmo right there. And now bring around that final clip. Approaching, pulling some tire up.
So qualifying playing a role here in Long Beach.
Formula Drift is brought to you by Toyota, let's go places. Royal Purple, the official engine oil of Formula Drift, the synthetic expert. Rockstar, the official energy drink of Formula Drift.
Well, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be across the nation, around the world. Welcome to Utah Motorsports Campus. This is round 7 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship and the final round 4 of the Link Engine Management PROSPEC Championship. Last and final round. I am Ryan Sage alongside Ryan Lontaine. 2 brand new things going on here this morning, Ryan. Number 1, it's Thursday, 10 a.m. local time. We're doing a broadcast, a qualifying broadcast, and we happen to be at the fastest track, I think, ever in Formula Drift's history. So much going behind coming into this event, not only with the PROSPEC Championship, but also just with how incredible this is going to be to watch both series compete in this one-of-a-kind track.
Yeah, being here for the first time is inspiring. This place is huge and the view is incredible. The track facility itself, it flows so well. You know, we weren't 100% sure how it was going to work out. We saw some practice a few weeks ago from a few drivers, but being here in person and seeing the flow from initiation all the way through to the finish line, the way that the cars move, the consistency and speed, everything that we're seeing here is really inspiring. Like you said, fastest track that we've had, and we're looking forward to seeing a lot of good tandem competition here.
Thinking about just what kind of goes into this from a track preparation standpoint, when you guys first kind of saw this track, what did you envision that it was going to be? Did you right out of the gate realize it was going to be as fast as we were expecting it's going to be? What was your vision from a judging perspective, kind of in the development of putting this whole thing together?
Well, you know, in the previous rounds of competition, we've seen a lot of trouble arise, let's say, in those decel areas. And we were really excited to have a track. The potential of a track with almost no decel zones was really exciting for us. Of course, we want to see great driving. We want to see good competition, and we want to see the drivers able to be on throttle as much as possible throughout the track. So that was what was really exciting for us.
And we got a little taste of what is to come from the PROSPEC practice this morning. I saw a couple guys go out first run and hit mid-90s, and it seems like there is some variance in speed between certain segments of the PROSPEC championship. But we've also known coming into this that triple digits are going to be very, very easy for the pro guys. I've heard as high as 115, 120, even 130 before the course was constructed, and that would just be insane.
Yeah, we're seeing that even in PROSPEC, we saw a couple of guys over 100 miles per hour. So looking at what the guys were practicing here, I think it was, a month ago now, 3 weeks ago, we saw some speeds there of 100 miles per hour, and we have the start line further back than they were using at the time, so we do have some opportunity there.
You guys really seem to focus on a very flowy and smooth track, and made some adjustments to some of the outside zones, inside clip areas. What were some of the things that you originally thought would work well here, and then once you kind of saw how the drivers were performing, led you guys to making some changes to benefit the competition? Yeah,
originally we had this track set up as all outside zones because we have sort of, I guess, kind of gone away from inside clips just in terms of competition for the tandem side of things. You want to see a lot of space for the chase cars, but when we saw how well this track flowed, I got in touch with some of the drivers that were here practicing on a second session and said, can you try an inside clip going from outside zone 2? And they admit it today. They were saying today and yesterday, I don't really think that's going to work. You know, an inside clip's just not going to work. And I said, just try it. Just give us an opportunity here to see what it would look like. And they called me shortly after that first test session they did here and said, it's awesome. It flows so well. We can stay on throttle. So we've played around with the positioning of the inside clip, and we've actually pushed it onto the track surface now just to give more space for the chase drivers and to make sure that they're not right up on the rumble strip. And it also makes a better line and better flow from that inside clip to outside zone 3. So we're just happy that it worked out, and our vision actually worked.
A lot of fans, want to know what happens inside the drivers' meetings. Give us a little insight. You guys had 2 drivers' meetings this morning, one for the PROSPEC guys and one for the pro guys that we'll see later on this afternoon. What were some of the things that you talked about? What were some of the questions asked? Was there anything that is relevant for fans to know in terms of the way they should be viewing this from the perspective that you guys have laid down in front of the drivers?
You know, typically in the driver briefings, we get, I would say, pushback on the track setup or advice or maybe like changes that they'd like to see. And it was also really nice to see that this track was really well received early on. And in the briefing today, it was just us giving quick basic outlines of what we want to see in qualifying, and everybody said, okay, we're going to go do it.
So give us a quick breakdown here. This is the overhead, and I believe this is a modified version of the map that you guys had in the drivers meeting, but kind of break down the different zones and clips and what's being expected.
Yeah, so you can see all the sectors here. There are 5 sectors on this track. Outside zone 1 on the driver's right leads to outside zone 2. Now the outside zone 2 is a little hard to see because it's yellow on yellow, but that is kind of new, right? That was going to be a touch and go, the outside zone 2 area, but we realized that that is a big zone. We had to make it bigger when we were here yesterday than what we thought, just because you need to fill it fully. You have to stay wide there to make it to inside clip number 2. So just a couple of little tweaks that we've made since first building this track map. But you can see inside clip 1 flows to outside zone 1, outside zone 2. From outside zone 2, drivers need to stay not all the way wide. They don't want to run right on the edge of the pavement, but they don't want to go inside either to that rumble strip right away. They want to stay about mid-track, get themselves to inside clip 2, which then at the speed they're going through there will maintain that mid-track flow until they transition and then get wide again at outside zone 3. Now outside zone 3 starts where the pit entry is. So there's a bit of rumble strip there, but beyond the rumble strip is pavement. It's not like an area that we typically see rumble strip and then dirt or grass. So there is a spot there where drivers need to be very focused on the rumble strip itself, and then it transitions from rumble strip on the outside to dirt, and then we finish at the finish line there. You can see it's outside zone 3 all the way to the finish line. They just need to run that outside line from start to finish.
What a beautiful backdrop here in Grantsville, Utah. We've got a very, very close championship, Ryan, as the ProSpec drivers are preparing after their first qualifying session. Looking at the points here, just going off of what we've got on the website officially, Robert Thorne in the lead by 1 point over Dmitry Brutsky. Trying to be a three-peat champion. Evan Bogovich there at 232, Alex Jaeger at 216, Derek Madison at 210. And we've also got 2 other championships that are being lined up as well. The FCP Euro $10,000 leaderboard finds Robert Thorne in first place with Brutsky in second, and that's a driver using a European chassis. And talking about Robert Thorne, let's get to know this brand new driver in the series.
Hey guys, I'm Robert Thorne. I am a road racer at heart that has now gone drifting. So drifting is new to me. I come from a road racing background. I've been road racing in karts since I was 8 years old. To go from that to drifting has been a pretty interesting journey. It started, of course, with Grid Life and the community there, and ASM. Grid Life hosts large events and festivals where there's road racing and drifting, and that really gave me a taste for it. We started using drifting as a coaching tool for kart control. The more we did it, the more fun we had. It started with just our road race cars, and then it slowly evolved to an angle kit, to more power. And then a year later, we built this car. So after that, the Pro-Am Championship is a big learning curve. Of course, it takes a lot of support. The team, my boss, everyone has to be involved. It was a huge push for me. Of course, the team over at Grid Life and Nick Swan and Adam Jabay to push us forward to continue our journey to get here. If you have more questions, DM me on the Throttle app and I'll get back to you.
Rockstar energy drink. Here's Matt Wall, the twin turbo 350Z. Tanner fast going through the paces. Solid line here. Great angle.
Woo! Good initiation from Dot. Did you see that faint flip entry? Just gangster right
Great
there.
job right there by Osmo, but look at Odie Bocci's diving right in on the attack and
Positioning now. Ryan Turf really needs to show up. He went off course. Tightens it up to the front clip, as does Freddie. The Norwegian hammer gets sweated by Denofa. And then he just keeps on going past. And Frederick Osbo fills all that outside zone. Michael, that's a right there. Looking in, rolling tide. Here we go. Final outside zone line. Pretty straightforward.
Outside zone. Frederick Osmo right there. And now bring around that final clip.
Approaching, pulling some tire up. So qualifying playing a role here in Long Beach.
You ain't gotta see me come and keep me on your mind. 'Cause I be on the way. Yeah. You know I be on the way. Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on the way. Yeah. I'm on the way. I'm on the way. On the way. Yeah. On the way. I'm on the way. I'm on the way.
Link is the engine management solution for champions the world over. We know what it takes to win. Pushing boundaries, performing under pressure, and having the best people on your team. Our tech support are performance specialists, available 24 hours and ready to talk one-on-one about your winning formula. Link ECU, the performance, reliability, and power to get to the podium.
Ready to get the party started here, the FCP Euro knockout qualifying format. Ryan, tell us what it's all about. What can we expect to see here in knockout qualifying?
Well, Ryan, we're looking at 2 laps, 1 lap, potentially 2 laps, depending how well the drivers do in their first lap of qualifying. And we're going to take a look at their line angle and their style, essentially. But we're looking at 40 points for line, 30 for style, and then 30 for angle as well.
And this is really important not only for the championship, but also for this award here, the FCP Euro Cup. The driver with a European chassis leading the way. Robert Thorne, 1 point over Dimitri Brutsky, then Evan Bogovic, Alex Jaeger, and Derek Madison. So at the end of the year, $10,000 will be given on behalf of FCP Euro to one of those 5 drivers. And actually, Andy Haley is in there as well, 31 points back. Dark horse, depending on what happens with Robert Thorne and Dimitri Brutsky. But let's get right to it. Robert Thorne, our first driver up, leading the championship, the very first driver to make a competitive run here on this course here in 2022 at the Utah Motorsports campus. Let's do it.
I don't know if you were watching his practice run, but his very first practice run looked like a top qualifying run.
Well, let's see if he
Very
can
impressive.
mirror that here as he comes out of the chicane. Big long run up here. That's one of the things that is a distinguishing factor here at this track. Little one move initiation, nice angle there, wrapping through that first inside clip, shooting out to that outside zone. Good throttle control here. You can see the smoothness. This has been one of the things that a lot of his driving has been predicated on, is very smooth, but attacking in those tandem battles. But here today in qualifying, filling that third and final outside zone, a big long one there, Ryan. And you can see just right there at the rumble strip where it connects with the dirt. You guys caution drivers to be careful going towards that edge of the track. It looked like Robert Thorne navigated that run pretty well overall, as now he will head all the way back. But from the looks of it, it seems like he's going to get himself a score that will move him into a pretty good position here and not have to go to that bottom 8. As we've seen these drivers mature over the course of the season. Ryan, take us through this run here and give us a walkthrough of Robert Thorne.
Yeah, this gives us a really good indication of what it is we're looking for on this track, Ryan. You can see a decent initiation from Robert. Fairly tight on inside clip 1. Could have been a little bit closer there. Decent on zone 1 as well. Zone 2 to inside clip. You can see he was off the inside clip. We want to see that front bumper right on the inside clip itself. He was a little bit off there, but does a much better job at outside zone 3 that you can see at the beginning was really, really deep and then came off ever so slightly on the second half of outside zone number 3. But very clean run from Robert Thorne overall.
Yeah, he continues to impress. He kind of came out of the middle of nowhere for drifting fans that may have not heard of him before. A very seasoned driver in motorsports in general, but has now made himself a name, a very big name in drifting, leading the championship here. This is the tightest championship I've seen in the Link Engine Management ProSpec Championship. 1 point separating here. I mean, it really is going to be about who wins out of those top 3 guys. And qualifying, very important. There are points on the line as well as positioning in the overall bracket. And looks like he's got himself a score coming in at 82 for Robert Thorne. And there it is, Ryan, line, angle, style. Tell me again what criteria you're doing?
I am the line judge.
You're the line judge. All right, so you knocked off 10 points there.
I did, yeah. You can see that he was off a couple of spots, especially inside clip number 2. He was significantly off of that one, so he lost a couple of points there. But we're looking for that precision from start to finish, and we have high expectations.
All right, well, here is the guy that is trying to three-peat, Dmitry Brutsky, at the line here, ready to go, and 82 is the marker here. Always takes a couple runs, I think, to establish where the field is overall on the point scoreboard for you guys as the judges. Big initiation there from Brutsky, hitting that inside clip, quickly back on throttle before that first inside clip, which I believe is going to definitely put him in a good position, relatively speaking. You guys really want to see those guys focusing on throttle control through that first inside clip. And as he wraps with his final outside zone, both wheels towards the edge of the course, filling that zone almost completely there. And I'm seeing some hands of amazement here from Chris Yule. Chris, what was that all about? Is that a good? Is that a good surprising?
That was a
bad?
very slow,
okay, that was a bad. All right,
very deliberate run. You could see even on the run up to initiation, I was wondering if he had a mechanical issue. He was coming up very slow. We do point out in the briefing that speed doesn't really matter. You know, we've got the speed gun up there. He was going 87 miles per hour. Comparatively, Robert Thorne was going 93 or 94 miles per hour. So there is a discrepancy in speed, but you can hear that he's, it sounds like left foot braking. I don't see brake lights, but boy, it did not sound like it was, the car was allowed to really kind of run free. You can see he's way off of inside clip 2 there. A lot of throttle, but just not, the car doesn't look like it's really going anywhere. So outside zone 3 there, you can see he was in it, but not at the beginning. You know, he got in it later on. Yeah, so you can see the speed. It even looks slow on the replay right now.
Explain to me the criticism. I mean, obviously speed is not a factor in terms of judging, but you guys are looking for flow. What was the criticism from Chris Yule, the angle judge?
Well, he was looking mainly at the lack of pace throughout the course.
Yep.
The really controlling the car, not letting the car move the way you'd want it to, like getting through the course. In a tandem competition setting, this would be unacceptable, really.
So for him as the angle judge, might not see a huge deduction from him since he's just looking at the angle of the vehicle and how solid it is, but just making a comment as a judge overall.
Yep.
You want to see that flow, you want to see that speed going through the course, and thinking about it as a lead run in a tandem battle, correct?
Exactly. That is exactly it, Ryan.
Hey, Jared, how you doing out there? Filling in for you. Don't come, actually. Just stay there. All right, here we go. Waiting for the scores here for Dmitry Brutsky. We've got a mid-80s on the board so far here for Robert Thorne, and there it is. An 82 puts him into second place, and you can see right there the style score making a little bit of a difference. And it looks like our marker's been set.
Yeah, you know, with a run like he was doing right there, you'd expect it to be a lot more precise because in theory, that's what you'd think slowing, you know, like keeping the vehicle speed low, you'd be able to be more accurate. But, you know, there was a tire drop in outside zone number 2. You can see the puff of dirt there come up. He was so far off of inside clip 2, so it seems like the benefits weren't really there.
All right, Bogovic, Evan, big long e-brake pull. Oh, misses that inside clip, but now trying to get that positioning to that first outside zone, wrapping around to the second, trying to find that throttle control, that fluidity. Coming into that inside clip, going a little bit wide. Here's the final outside zone. Driver's trying to get settled here. He enters at the beginning of the zone. He's going to fall out and clearly leaving some points on the line there. For line, I would imagine, Ryan. I mean, you'll have a lot to speak to there as Evan Bogovic finishes up his first run here. We've seen an 82 and a mid-80s score there as our marker so far, both 82s. And what did you see in particular on this run, Ryan, that stood out for you, both positive and negative?
Yeah, it looked like there was a nice snap to initiation here. There may have been a little correction. You can see the wheels just falter a little bit. He was off of inside clip 1, left outside zone 1 early. Kind of hard to see on the replay there about outside zone 2, but look at inside clip 1. Didn't get the tire in the box. The bumper wasn't close to the inside clip. And then outside zone 3, I think, is the major line loss of points. You can see there inside considerably through outside zone number 3. So needs to widen the run up, fill out those zones, but also tighten it up on the inside clips.
Here's another look here as Bogovic trying to capitalize on as many opportunities as he can, using that e-brake there, but manipulate the vehicle through that inside clip. And drivers, not a lot of data on this course, very little practice time. We had about 3 hours of practice coming into this. Many of the drivers trying to find that level of comfort. Really important here to get a good positioning into the bracket going into the top 32 as we wait for the scores here coming in from each of the judges. Great backdrop shot there here in Grantsville, Utah, just a little bit outside of Salt Lake City, expecting a good event here this weekend. Very interesting to be starting an event this early on a Thursday. And here it is, a 75 for Evan Bogovic. And Ryan, you definitely docked off 15 points there. We see 4 points from angle and 6 points from style. But the biggest deductions coming from your side of things overall.
Yeah, he was off in pretty considerably in some important areas there that are worth 10 points out of 40. So it's going to make a big impact.
All right, 4th in points right now, Alex Jaeger making his way onto the course for the very first time. Nice little initiation there, kind of a two-parter. The most that you can do, a two-part initiation. Getting that outside zone pretty well. Good throttle control through the middle section of the course. Pointing the car just on the outside of that inside clip. How is it going to set him up here for this final outside zone? Looks like he's getting fluidly into that section of the course and does stick pretty much both wheels, maybe 3/4 of the way through that outside zone at the very limit there, just getting up to the edge towards the last quarter. And Ryan, as we start to see some of the tendencies that these drivers have laid down so far, what sticks out to you here for Alex Jaeger?
Yeah, I liked his initiation. He did a big flick in the opposite direction, though, in the beginning. We kind of say, you can do a flick, but don't drift in the opposite direction before initiating, but it ended up working pretty well. Off of inside clip a little bit. Good job on outside zone 1. Coming to inside clip number 2, I think he was off it a little bit, like you said. His tire wasn't in the box. He was going to lose a couple points there. And then coming to outside zone 3, I think a much better job through 3. You can see he was right on the edge of the track. Comes off a little bit near the finish there, but decent job through outside zone 3 at least. So you can see a couple of bobbles in there that style judge will make some deductions for, but overall, pretty smooth run from him.
When you see the car kind of rocking back and forth like that as the car gets settled coming from one transition to the next, what does that tell you in terms of what's going on with the vehicle and the driver?
Do you mean the suspension itself? Or I guess it's just soft suspension setup.
Some cars seem to load more than others. It sometimes tends to rattle the body a little bit. You guys don't necessarily take that into account. You're just looking for positioning of the vehicle, angle of the vehicle, how smooth and fluid it is. But certainly, cars definitely have a wide array of tendencies depending on how they've been developed and what type of tire they're using, et cetera, et cetera. And the judges liking this one. Alex Jaeger, 84, currently sitting in first place. 31 in line, 27 in angle, 26 in style. He is leading the way so far. And there's our spotter stand up here. Fixed building right up here in the middle of the track. There we are, Ryan. We love this place. We think it's a beautiful layout. It's going to get super exciting. I think everybody's waiting for the head-to-head matchups. But we've got to get this underway here. Derek Madison, our next driver up, trying to beat that new marker of an 84. As Alex Jaeger leading the way, our #1 qualifier. Let's see what Derek Madison can do. Coming down that front straight, kind of a straight line approach, slow roll initiation, very little use of e-brake, flows a little bit past that first inside clip and leaves that second a little bit early as well on that outside zone. Getting tight on that inside clip, almost center punches it. Definitely a mistake on that section of the course, and leaving a little bit to be desired here on that final section as well. But really it seemed like the most significant mistake in terms of line, Ryan, from your side of things, was on that second inside clip.
Yeah, there were definitely some errors made, Ryan. I don't think he's going to be happy with the line side of his score here. You can definitely see some areas where some improvements can be made. So like you said, a pretty straight initiation, but a slow roll to initiation. Right there, you see a lot of understeer in the car. The wheel not understeer, but I guess the wheels were not turned the way they should be. You can see right there as well, a lack of angle in the car. Coming inside clip 2, runs over that inside clip marker, and then going to outside zone number 3. You can see he got wide early, and then as he got to the zone, kind of riding that white line, not really filling the zone itself. All right, so there you can see, yeah, there's definitely a lack of angle in the car, and it looked like at inside clip 1 that the car was pushing a little bit, so it wasn't able to maintain angle. You know, the front wheels didn't have the grip that he anticipated there going through inside clip 1.
All right, so replay done. Scores coming in for the 3 judges up here: Brian Eggert, Chris Yule, and Ryan Lantain. We've seen a few 80s. 84 is the current marker at first place for Alex Jaeger. Looks like some of the fans giving their prediction as well. I see some mid-60s, 70s, and it's a 59. So big deduction there on style, proportionally speaking, dropping 13 points overall. And you can see right now our leaderboard for the first 5 drivers: 84 the high marker, 59 the low. Haley, Lemaire, Chen, Hobson, and Misko yet to come. And there's Andy Haley, your winner from FD Orlando. A #1 qualifier as well as the win. Trying to build back up here, still in the chase for that championship, the FCP Euro Championship $10,000 prize. Nice initiation there. Comes a little bit unstuck on the front end, trying to find that grounding as he gets into that second outside zone. Great throttle control here. Really nicely executed on that inside clip. That front bumper so low to the ground really gives a great styling to the vehicle, makes it look super smooth. As he finishes up his run, a good start there for Andy Haley. Probably the closest we've seen to that second inside clip so far, Ryan. And we'll see how you guys are inputting your scores here. Walk us through this one.
Yeah, this was a nice run, Ryan. Like you said, pretty tight on inside clip number 1. I think he was really, inside clip 1 and 2. He was good through outside zone number 1 as well. So a little bit off of 1, but look at outside zone number 1. Beautiful job there. Transitions to 2. Looked like he did a great job there as well. Coming to inside clip 2. Pretty tight on that. I think that's the tightest one, like you said, without actually hitting it. And then going to outside zone 3, a nice line through outside zone 3. You can see him right on the edge of the track. Comes off ever so slightly there, but gets it wide near the finish as well. So I think there's a kind of an odd bubble there at outside zone number 3 maybe that's difficult to fill entirely, but watch his right rear tire as he comes around. Great job through there. Never leaves the box itself, so really solid line from Andy Haley.
All right, scores getting input here for Andy Haley. Looks like he's getting some praise here from Ryan Lantain. And Ryan, just remind us again, the original intent of this track, or the original layout as we wait for the scores to come in, was an all outside zone track, and now we've got a couple inside clips. Remind the fans as we look at a tied score here at 84 for Andy Haley, but getting the bigger style number puts him into first place. So great job by him. Definitely getting a lot of accolades from the judges up here, but remind us again, you guys went from an all outside zone course to an outside zone plus a couple inside clips, and is it really just a matter of the flow that you saw?
Yeah, definitely for the flow. We wanted it to be a more natural racing line kind of track. You know, we didn't want to force people out to outside zones where it was natural.
All right, Tommy Lemaire making his presence known, felt these past couple years in PROSPEC. Big e-brake pull on initiation, swinging out wide to that first outside zone, keeping that throttle control pretty consistent. Left foot braking through that section of the course, but hitting that inside clip. Drivers pretty much nowadays are able to use all the tools at their disposal, whether it's left foot braking, handbrake, as long as it looks clean and as long as it would play well in a head-to-head matchup. Tommy Lemaire there towards the end making a little bit of a mistake on that final outside zone. As we take a look at the replay here, getting a sense of how drivers are getting accustomed to this course. It's really one and done for qualifying. You have to ask yourselves, Ryan, you know, what kind of risk are you willing to take here in qualifying, given you want to try to make it into that or stay out of that bottom 8?
Yeah, pretty decent initiation there. Misses inside clip 1 slightly, but nice and deep in outside zone 2 and 3. 1 and 2. And then coming to inside clip number 2, you can see he's nice and tight there as well. The outside zone number 3, this is where some errors were made, and it looked like he may have had some trouble with the steering. He told me that his power steering, he had issues with it at the last round. and it didn't really get resolved coming into this round.
It did not get resolved coming into this round.
It didn't. So Tommy Lemaire lives in Canada, obviously,
Yeah.
and the car stayed down here in the U.S., and it just seems like, from what he said, maybe it didn't get fixed the way that he anticipated it to coming into this round. So maybe still fighting that power steering issue.
All right, so score starting to drop here for Tommy Lemaire, sitting in 7th place right now in the championship. And that is our spotter stand right up here next to the judges. In our production booth, there they are, a nice little wave. As look at this, another 84, and he did get some deductions, Ryan, on the style score and angle, proportionally speaking, bigger than your line score. So it looked like for you, really, the line for him was more or less on point with just a 5-point deduction overall.
Yeah, exactly. Just a couple points here and there, nothing too major. But of course, it was that outside zone 3 that hurt him, I think, the most.
Okay. All right. Nathaniel Chen, Nate Chen, as he's known here, familiar in the paddock, up for his first run here as he makes his way through the chicane. Let's take a look at this initiation on approach. Little counterbalance there, getting right into a big long e-brake pull. Getting on throttle at that inside clip, but maybe slowing down the momentum a bit too much. I know the judges really like to see that flow, connecting the speeds appropriately from initiation to that first inside clip. Nice little snappy transition back around. Two big transitions on this course that Brian Eggert, the style judge, has to look for. And just dropping a tire outside the zone on that final and third outside zone as Nate Chen wraps up his first run here in qualifying. The leaderboard starting to fill out here a little bit. Ryan, walk us through this run here from Nate Chen.
Yeah, it sounds like some drivers are having issues with power delivery. Like maybe they have gripped up their cars too much, and it's leading to understeer situations, and it's also leading to situations where the engine almost can't keep the wheels spinning, to the level that they would need to. But you can see here Nate's being pretty accurate with his car placement all the way around. He was right on that inside clip, number 2. Did a pretty good job on 3 here on outside zone 3, but you can see kind of was in it, left it, got back in it again near the end. So overall, pretty good run from Nate Chen.
All right, so scores starting to fall here for Nate Chen. Starting to see kind of more or less where these scores are dropping in, where some of the big deductions are happening. A 79 for Nate Chen puts him in a good position there. Number 6, angle, the biggest deduction of them all, relatively speaking, 9-point deduction there, 6 for style and 6 for line as we move on to our next driver. And going in order of our competition championship standings right now, and this is Ben Hobson coming up here in the Automotive Innovation Core Works Motegi Racing Nissan S14.5. Just finishing up his burnout. It looks like following him was Steve Misko, and I think he's going to be a no-show, and that'll move us on to Casey Cole after that. First up, let's get to Ben Hobson. Here we go. All right, we've got the clear descent here for Ben Hobson as he heads out. Underway through the chicane. Hobson grabbing some gears there, coming down that long front straight. Nice little snap, quick, right to angle there, gets back on throttle, trying to make that adjustment. Trying to maximize those style points, but stays off that first outside zone. Oh, a little bit of adjustment with the front end there. He is able, from a line perspective, to get to that first outside, or that second inside clip, but nowhere to be found on this final outside zone. So driving fast and quick through the course. And Ryan, as you said, maybe some of the drivers a bit too gripped up out here, as we see Hobson just missing that last outside zone very noticeably. Take us through this run here. It looked like he was starting to get a good start. He had a nice snap on initiation, but then things started to fall apart a little bit on that inside clip.
Yeah, you can see as he initiated there, he may have over-rotated. You can see a bobble on the front end a little bit, trying to get the car back online. Pretty good job through zone 1 and 2. Again, right there, a bobble. The car straightened up. Looks like it's very grippy. And if he lifts off throttle at all, the car wants to straighten up. His line through zone 3 was not ideal. You could see he was inside quite a bit, and that, again, may be a result of being too gripped up as well. Nice and tight on inside clip number 2, though, Ryan.
So a nice little spread starting to develop here between the first 9 drivers that have gone out. Mid-80s is kind of our marker for the top drivers. We've seen as low as 59. And as Hobson wraps things up, the judges putting in their scores. Let's see where he drops in here. Beautiful morning here. Nope, not that one. As it looks like Hobson, there we go, 74 for Hobson, putting him in 8th position. 9 points off of line, 8 points off of angle, 9 off of style, giving him a 74. So respectable run there for him. Hopefully that'll be enough to close it out for the day, and we'll move on to our next driver, which I believe looks like Casey Cole on the line there in the M-Spec Performance Nissan S14.9. As we are about to go green for him, coming down that front straight. Nice little slow roll initiation, e-brake into that first inside corner. Getting that inside clip and that outside zone. Wrapping back around to the second outside zone, aiming towards this inside clip. Looks like he's coming right up against it there. Line looking solid here. Pretty smooth transition to that final section. Gets into it a little bit late and right at the edge. So probably, I don't know what you said deductions are for what section of the zone they're at, Ryan, but overall it looked like up until that point he was doing a really good job from your criteria's perspective.
Yes, the only issue is that last outside zone is worth 10 points, so it's a big chunk. So you need to make sure you get in the box at the very least to get decent points. But looking at his initiation here, got to angle, looked settled through inside clip 1, off slightly there, but deep in outside zone 1. Outside zone 2, good job there as well. Coming to inside clip 2, really tight on that clip, so nicely done by him there. And then as he comes to outside zone 3, you can see this is where he's right on that line. So he's not in the box, but he's right on the outside edge of that white line. So definitely a room for improvement there on that outside zone 3 area. So watch that right rear wheel. Never gets inside the box. So unfortunately, that's going to be a deduction in points for him there.
Give us the weightiness of that deduction so fans can understand. What does it take off of your score of those 10 points in that section if you're just right at the edge there?
Yeah, that would take off 4 points for that section through the entirety like that.
All right, so scores starting to come in here for Casey Cole as he wraps up his run. Waiting for the last few to come in. See where that slots him into the top 32, and here it is. Wow, still a big score. So even with those deductions overall, an 86, that will put him into first place by 2 points overall. And so the judges really liking that. Ryan, it seemed like you really only dinged him in that last outside zone. And from an angle and style perspective, both judges only knocking off a handful of points. So that's going to put him up at 86, leading the qualifying pack as we will move on to our next driver, Rich Whiteman, in that Freedom Motorsport Toyota JZX 100 is underway. You can hear that thing screaming down that front straight. Big angle there, floating out a bit wide on that first inside clip. It pushes him to that outside zone as he moves into this second inside clip here. Big angle right at the edge of that box, that newly painted box. Good transition back around. Throttle control looking pretty solid here, but the line just at the edge there, now starting to move back. And Ryan, I'd love to know how you approach going into the zone, coming out of the zone, going back into the zone from a line judge perspective, if you could break that down as we take a look at the replay here from Rich Whiteman on run number 1.
Great initiation here, but unfortunately pushed him a little wide of that inside clip 1. Great job in outside zone 1 and outside zone 2. You see a little handbrake pull there. Pretty tight on inside clip number 2. Could have been tighter, but close to that box. And then outside zone number 3. So like you said, he was in and he was out and then he was back in again. So you just kind of look at the length of the zone and say that if the car was in it entirely, of course, it'd be 10 points. If you start leaving the box, you usually take a point or 2 off for leaving the box. If you're out of the box entirely, like I said earlier, you'd give a 6 if you're right on the line, and then deduct further as you go in from that. So out and in and out like that, I gave him an 8 on that because he was pretty good on it.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. He was in it quite a bit, but came out slightly and then went back in.
Okay. All right, so judge breakdown here on the line criteria from Ryan Lantain as we await the scores here for Rich Whiteman, making our way quickly through this field of 35 drivers here in attendance, and 83 for Rich Whiteman, moving into 5th position overall. So looks like some of these top 10 drivers have made some adjustments from what they've seen from some of the top drivers. Now we're seeing some bigger scores drop here the last couple runs. And 5th position there for Rich Whiteman, as we will now move on to Brian Wadman, who's waiting at the line, ready to go for his first run here in the Elite Roofing Nissan S14 car 555 underway. Straight line approach here, gets that little snap, starts to get back on throttle well before that inside clip. Just get to the edge of it there. On that first outside zone, looks like he fills it pretty well, adjusting to this second part of the course. It's big rotation there. Has to pull angle out of the car, falls off of the line, and you could see that mistake starting to build up before that inside clip as he was putting angle in the car. A bit too much angle, and Ryan, that kind of pulled him off of his line that he was shooting for there. Let's take a look at this again and then break down from the line perspective and generally speaking what type of mistake that is overall.
Yeah, line-wise, that's going to be a big deduction on that sector. So we do have individual clips and zones, but we can also deduct points in the sector. So that's the area before and after each clip or zone. So he got close to the inside clip, but he was running the wrong line, ended up crossing that white line that you have painted there. And that's going to be a big deduction for him on that sector. Through outside zone number 3, though, you can see that he did get in the zone, but then out of the zone, so there'll be some deductions on line there as well.
Yeah, what the judges are talking about here is some of the judges, at least 2, think that the mistake that was made is an inchaseable lead, which would be an incomplete. So not just a big deduction on line, but potentially an incomplete. And Ryan, is that confirmed from the 3 of you guys?
Yes, it is. Like just looking at his momentum, the way he over-rotated before the inside clip, and then the line that he ran up on that rumble strip would be unchaseable from a chase driver perspective. So we talk about in unchaseable leads being a combination of errors. So the big slowdown with then the going offline would be considered that incomplete.
And the way to think about that is this is a qualifying run. This is also a lead run. So if you could imagine a chase driver behind that, would they be able to compete with that type of mistake? And you guys just say no. All right, here we go. Moving on to Blake Olson here as he heads on out. Gets a start here, run number 1. Super loud from where we are. We're probably 1,000 feet away. And you can hear that thing purring as he makes his way through that second inside clip. Final transition here, good throttle control. Just moving outside that final outside zone for maybe the last 50%. So Ryan, we've got a good grasp of kind of the deduction that you would take for that outside zone. That is worth 10 points from your criteria in particular. What did you see here from Blake Olson overall in his first run?
Pretty accurate in the first part of the course. He was off inside clip a bit, but great on zone 1 and zone 2. Coming to inside clip, nice and tight on that inside clip. Decent job on line through there. You can see a little bobble and angle there, but coming to outside zone 3, in the box sort of, and then leaves that box pretty significantly there. Like you said, about 50% of that outside zone 3 was missed. So barely got the tire in there. So that's going to be some deductions from him on line as well. Overall, pretty good run. Just a couple of areas where he wasn't as accurate as you'd like to see.
All right, so coming off of an incomplete from Brian Wadman, it looks like we are going to get a scored run here from Blake Olson in that TNVC CoreWorks E92 BMW. Getting his first run under his belt and hoping that it'll be his last. It's a 75. That puts him in the top 10. Pretty sizable deduction from you, Ryan. 10 points overall.
Yep.
Line and angle coming in at 7 and 8 points off, respectively. But a top 10 finish should get it done for him as we move on to our next driver, Corey Talaska, in that blank canvas SLR Speed E36 BMW M3. Here we go, through the chicane. Big long run up. It feels longer in time than Road Atlanta, but it's more flat. And as you can see, managing that first inside clip, goes a little bit wide, gets up on the rumble strips on that first outside zone, trying to manage speed here, get to that right section of the course, midline through that inside clip. Pretty good job there. Great angle, nice throttle control through this final section. Can he stick to that line? He's in the deepest part of the zone. Oh, he comes off a bit early there. And so we've seen a few drivers do that, Ryan. They get into that zone nice and early. They place those wheels towards the edge of the course, and then about 3/4 of the way through, whether it's too much grip or the car wanting to pull them out of that zone, they're not able to fill it completely.
Yeah, looking at the replay, pretty good job through outside zone 1 and 2. As he comes to inside clip 2, off of it slightly there. We'd like to see tighter on that inside clip. And then coming to outside zone number 3, like you said, ran a great line in the beginning, but did come off early. Maybe the last what, half of that zone was outside of the box. Let's watch the replay here again from a different perspective and give us a good idea. Yeah, maybe the last third he was outside of the box. So pretty decent job overall from him. I think he'll get a decent score here. He did have a bobble on initiation, though. If you looked at his initiation, it was kind of a stepped initiation. So style judge will most likely get him for that.
Brian Eggert, our style judge here this weekend. Chris Ewell, our angle judge. Chris made it real clear in the drivers' meeting. He basically said for angle, set it and forget it. And I have my markers for my high angle and my low angle, and I already know that going into it. I know how to award points based on that when I look at practice. And he's got a really good understanding of his criteria and how he's going to be judging it. And maybe we'll bring him in here to talk a little bit more about that. An 83 for Koyi Talaska. So we are seeing the continued trend of the 10th place through 16th place drivers outperforming the top 10 in these past few runs. And Ryan, so you give an 8-point deduction there, only 3 points off for angle. So you're kind of getting a trend here of what Chris Ewell is doing, and just a few points off there is our leaderboard. Breaking down the top 10 so far, 86 to 75, the spread there from 1st to 10th place. A nice little mix-up here in the FCP Euro qualifying session, as we will now move on to, I believe, our next driver is going to be Austin Mata. Matthew Bystrak, yeah, the Gas Factory Nissan S13. Our next driver up, and here we go. A little bit of a step initiation as he gets to that first outside zone, letting it float out to the second. Looks like he pulls off a little bit early, having a bit of trouble there, trying to find that smoothness and consistency, but now getting back in the fight here, a little bit of angle pulled out of the vehicle, and we are seeing these more and more drivers kind of struggle with the grip factor there on that last outside zone run, and that was way off, so you can't get like negative points, but how do you treat that last section when you're that far off?
Well, I do have 10 points, and I can give a 0 for a zone if I have to. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, so you can see a bit of a bobble there at initiation, early on in the initiation step. But once he gets through inside clip, pretty decent. But outside zone 2, definitely an error there. You can see a big handbrake pull and an issue with the angle. And then right here, pours on angle, there's some serious wavering. And then for probably 2/3 of outside zone number 3, he's so far inside. That is going to be a massive deduction for him, unfortunately.
So our 3 judges here, we've got 1 Canadian, 2 Americans here. Chris Ewell, Brian Eggert holding up the angle and style side of things, as Ryan Lantain doing the line judging. As you can see there in the backdrop, that's the building that we are in, this beautiful location here, Utah Motorsports campus. First time ever. Hope it is the first year of many. Looks like we've got a great event ahead. It is so rare for us to be broadcasting, doing competition this early on a Thursday, though. And that's primarily because we've got both championship series here. This is not a nighttime event, so we've got a window of time to get both qualifying sessions done today. Well, all day tomorrow will be the headlining PROSPEC championship, and then Saturday is all pro. 65 is what Matthew Bystrak logs his score in. That'll put him in 13th position. And you can see some big deductions there for all 3 categories, resulting in that lower score. But still in the fight here as we move on to our next driver. This is going to be Austin Mata in the Don't Mata Racing Nissan S14. Making good pace here through qualifying. Let's see Austin Mata. He's had some really high points this season. Pretty good initiation. Big, long e-brake pull. Ryan, I'll want to hear more about how you guys view that kind of technique. getting to that second outside zone, making his way to this second inside clip. Pretty good job there on the line, it looks like overall. Getting out towards the edge of the track as he transitions to that final section. And that looks like a pretty well executed job there, Ryan, on that. What seemed to be maybe coming a little bit unraveled there on the transition from outside zone 2 to inside clip 2. That last section of the course seemed like it was done very well.
Yes, it did. And it looks, again, like another car, or sounds like at least a car with a lot of grip in the setup. So outside zone 1 was done really well, so was 2. But then the car starts to slow down through here. You can see his line. He's really on the inside there. We don't want to see that so much, so that's going to get deducted. We want to see the mid-line after inside clip 2. But outside zone 3, you can see that he was in that zone all the way from start to finish. Really great job from him there. That's probably the best line we've seen through outside zone 3. But right there you can see he ends up dropping a tire, maybe 2 tires before outside zone number 3, because he is so far inside. His rubber down on the ground there is definitely the furthest inside that we've seen.
Right, and one of the things I think that's interesting to point out, especially with the sector scoring, is that you could have runs that kind of look radically different but similar scores. And really what that's going to come down to is where the points deductions took place for what category in what sector, right?
Yep, exactly.
And so for you on that last final sector there, overall for you, like how did you view his line run?
Well, because of the fact that he dropped the tire, I'll let you just get the score here.
It's a 74 for Austin Mata, coming in 13th place. Go ahead.
Yeah, because that tire drop occurred in what would be considered the last sector, because it was over halfway between inside clip number 2 and outside zone 3, that deduction has to be transferred over to the outside zone 3 area. So instead of almost a perfect score or a perfect score he would have had through outside zone 3, he had a couple points deducted because of that tire drop earlier.
Car 31, Rye O'Connor in the Ignited Soul Nissan 350Z. His first run away, staying towards that outer part of the initiation run, getting that inside clip. Looking pretty smooth here overall. Trying to make his presence known here in ProSpec. Having trouble. Another driver having trouble with that second outside zone to the inside clip, and now driving a bit frantically here, trying to get some points back on the board, and I'm quickly seeing some heads turn to each other. I think we may have our second incomplete of the day from Rye O'Connor, and if so, Ryan, give us some insight here to what transpired there with Rye.
Yeah, let's watch it again, Ryan, but it looked like he had some issues from outside zone number 2 to inside clip 1 and then beyond that. So looking at his initiation, it looked a little bit slow. It didn't look as dynamic as we'd like to see. It was a slow rotation to angle. As he transitions the car here for outside zone 2, right there's a little handbrake pull, but then the front wheels go straight, the car over rotates, very low angle by the inside clip, and then running the wrong line, very low angle, if any at all, from inside clip number 2 to outside zone number 3. So unfortunately, we're going to give that an incomplete based on the lack of chaseability of that run. Very much offline with some decels in the wrong areas there.
Oh, those are some of our hardcore fans there. Coming to many of the events as we are making our way about halfway through our qualifying lineup so far. Our next driver up, I believe, is going to be car 119, Rudy Hansen, in the Team Hansen anti-gravity batteries, Nissan S13 LS Supercharged. Kind of a local boy coming from Pocatello, Idaho, as he is now clear to send. As we are ready to go to the first run of Rudy Hansen. He gets the approval there from Matt Sopa, our starter. Taking that midline approach, moving over to the outer edge of the course, getting that initiation well before that last standing cone, coming with a lot of momentum through that first inside clip, using that throttle to control the speed through this section that's been challenging for a lot of drivers, trying to stay just at the edge of the course there, but he does drop a tire, big smoke cloud pushing out towards the fans, and then a second tire drop there on that outside zone. So coming a little bit unstuck there, Ryan, driving aggressively. I know that's what you guys want to see, but you also want to see that precision as we take a look here at the replay from Rudy Hansen.
Yes, off slightly there on inside clip 1 and outside zone 1. Decent job on outside zone 2, but right here he hangs on too long, ends up missing inside clip 2 and having the wrong line. You can see he drops the tire there before outside zone number 3, and then sort of inside the zone as well, drops a tire. So definitely some points deducted from Rudy there on line. Right here, you can see almost 3 tires off there potentially. So that was massive off there. It didn't look as serious because I guess the dirt is pretty compacted there, so you're not seeing as much dust fly up.
So taking a look at the course there, thought maybe we might have our first course cleanup of the afternoon, as we're seeing some of the staff take a look at whether or not there was, Okay, we're good. We're going right to burnout, so dirt stayed off the track. We know how that can be very challenging, especially with oil drops. And there's Rudy Hansen's score of 75. That's going to keep him just outside the top 10. Coming in at position number 11. It looks like it'll be a keeper score for him. 29, 23, 23 line angle style as the scores drop for him. Now let's take a look at how this is playing out so far, Ryan. We're seeing our spread there from 1st to 10th, still 86 to 75. Casey Cole, our number 1 qualifier so far. And there you go. You see Hansen 11, Olsen 12, Hobson 13, Mata, Bystrack, Madison, and then our 2 incompletes. Our first 2 drivers going to the bottom 8. They will run one more time as we go now to Zach Farrar in the Shinchoku Factory 83 Nissan S13.4. First run of the morning for him. Beautiful morning here in Utah. Very little weather as he has a big adjustment there, Zach, in that first inside clip, driving off course there in outside zone number 1. Trying to find the setting here. First time for a lot of these drivers out is now into that final outside zone, reaches those 2 rear wheels for a second and then falling out to the edge. So different areas of the course, some drivers struggling a little bit, whether it's the initiation or the transition from outside zone 2 to inside clip 2. Ryan, walk us through it.
Yeah, the initiation here, I think he came up a little short on inside clip 1. You can see a reduction in angle, but his line isn't ideal going by the inside clip, which then pushes him wide at outside zone number 1, misses outside zone 2, and then coming to inside clip, way off of that, goes super wide here, and then misses the beginning of outside zone number 3, gets into it a little bit, and then leaves it again. So I think it all stemmed from the initiation. Maybe didn't have the momentum to get him around outside zone, around the corner there at inside clip number 1, and then it sort of messed him up for the rest of the run.
Well, this is the Link Engine Management ProSpec Championship. I had the opportunity this morning to talk to Jason from Link ECU, and he basically told me a lot of what you said, Ryan, that dialing in the appropriate grip for this track is going to be of utmost importance. That forward bite coming down the front straight is not going to be as important as getting that sideways bite that's needed so that you don't grip up and fall off the track or come in too tight, as we see a 70 dropping here for Zach Farrar, putting him in 15th place. Hoping that will hold as we see each of the categories there, as our 5th place, Amanda Sorensen, after 3 events in the FCP Euro Cup, $10,000 going to the winner for that championship. Amanda Sorensen, one of the younger drivers in the series, coming out of Las Vegas, Nevada, representing the U.S. Air Force, and Sorensen Motorsports BMW. She is up next on the line. Older brother in the Pro Championship. He will be heading out on the track later today. They've got some experience on this track, Ryan. Let's see how Amanda handles this. Nice little flick there, starting off, coming in a little bit tight, losing some momentum on that inside clip, getting back on the throttle, rocketing out of that first outside zone. Now wrapping through that inside clip very smoothly. This section of the course lining up pretty well for her. She locks into that outside line and pretty much pipes it all the way through. Just a little tire drop there towards the end. Looks like she got past the finish line without too big of a deduction there. It looked like most of the issues that she was having, Ryan, were minor, but more towards the first part of the course on initiation.
Yeah, I think it was a case of slightly too early getting into that corner there. Needed to wrap around it a little bit more, but overall, great job from Amanda here, especially outside zone 3. Inside clip 2 is really tight as well. Look at that line through there. Really nicely done. And then she walks right on the edge here with that right rear tire. Look at that, right on the edge of the track for a good chunk of it. Drops the tire, but after the finish line. So really great job from Amanda here through the entirety of the course. Really smooth. I didn't see any glaring errors, maybe a couple of little bobbles here and there, but nothing too serious.
And tell us a little bit about that rumble strip on the first inside clip. Bumper across the rumble strip is perfectly fine. If you see a tire go up on there, what do you, from the line judge perspective, think about that?
Yeah, that would be a slight, just like a point deduction.
Okay.
I really want to see the tires stay down, maybe just on the edge of the rumble strip there, but it should be just be bumper close to that inside clip marker.
All right, so Amanda Sorensen, our driver that has put another run in the books, and an 83, a great score for her. She comes in at 7th place, knocking another driver down, and you can see where the deductions took place, but this is a solid performance from her, and that will lock her in for the afternoon, as we will move on now to our second female in competition, car 42 of Kelsey Rawlings. The Drift Chick, top 1 oil Stabil 303 Nissan S14.5. Coming in here from Florida as she's going to the start line. Having a strong season, both females in the championship. She will make her first run known here to the judges. Nice little initiation, a tiny bit of stepping there, but getting back on the throttle a bit late past that inside clip. Judges really want to see you flow with that momentum, get that throttle back on at least by that first inside clip. Second part of the run starting to come together here as she visits that last outside zone right at the edge. Oh, falling off a little bit there, but climbing back deeper towards the last section. Might have been too little too late as we see our first run from Kelsey Rawlings. Ryan, what was the takeaway there from her run?
You can hear some clutch kicking near the end there, Ryan. I think it's another case of a lot of grip built in, but decent job. Little bobble at initiation, like you said, kind of that stepped initiation. Coming inside clip number 2 here, pretty tight on inside clip 2. Little bobble there as she leaves clip 2, and then coming to outside zone number 3, putting that right rear tire in the box, coming out of it again. Yeah, didn't really get back into it until, or get to the edge of the track until well beyond the finish line there. So it was in the box early, but then left it in the second half of it, I would say.
All right, 22 drivers down, 13 more to go, and then our bottom 8. We've got 2 drivers with incomplete so far, but scored runs pretty much the norm here so far on this first time track here at the Utah Motorsports campus. As we take a look at the score here from Kelsey Rawlings, a 73, putting her about mid-pack right there. And that'll probably be a keeper. I think usually what we've seen, Ryan, the trends are, mid-70s are mostly a keeper for most tracks, as we now are going to be moving quickly on to our next driver. I think that's 678 Dustin Miles of Style Racing Nissan S13. Or is that Hoffman? Yeah, that's Hoffman. Ricky Hoffman, our next driver up, the Wire Care Coreworks Nissan S14.9. Out there on the course. Nice little frick. E-brake pull, a little bit longer, I think, than you'd like to see, Ryan, but as he gets to that first outside zone, looking pretty good so far. Little bit of adjustment with the front wheels there. Angles up the vehicle, and you could see that starting to build as he was pulling some angle out of the car, having to make that adjustment. It's a great save overall from him, but a very noticeable mistake there. And that's the second driver we've seen have some trouble there on that transition from outside zone 2 to inside clip. What happened, Ryan?
Looked like the initiation was pretty solid. Inside clip 1, outside zone 1 were off slightly. Gonna lose some points on line. And right there you see the front wheels come straight. Again, might be another situation where there's too much rear grip and not enough in the front. The car's sort of lost front end grip, but he managed to stay on throttle and keep momentum going. So it'll just be some deductions, as it wasn't sort of that compounded error that we generally give an incomplete to. But you can see, yeah, quite a big error there. Car losing front end grip. The car's still technically at angle, compared to the direction of travel, but not looking ideal.
All right, so waiting for the scores here to drop for Ricky Hoffman. And there we go, a 65. So that's going to put him in position 18 with 12 drivers left to go. Big deductions there from both line and angle. and 15 points off, for angle and style, and 15 points off for line ride. Where did the majority of those points come from you?
They came from, let's see, outside zone number 2, inside clip number 2, and outside zone number 3 for me.
All right, well, next driver up, this is Dustin Miles, Miles of Style Racing, Nissan S13. Nice little jump there, early initiation, floats it towards that inside clip. And we'll see what the judges think about that, but very aggressive driving, maybe a bit too aggressive. He gets towards the edge of that course, having trouble there with that second outside zone. Seeing some curious looks from the judges here. It's the first time we've seen somebody push a bit too wide there on that transition from outside zone 2 to inside clip 1, and then a little bit of struggling as well on that final outside zone. Ryan, let's take a look at this again. Walk us through what you think's going on here. Do you think this is a continued issue of grip for some of these drivers?
Well, it looks here like he went off course right here and had a big decel trying to stay on the track. So, and then a lack of angle as well. Brian says that he understeered over the finish line. So let's have a look. I missed it on the first. Yeah, he did straighten before the finish line. So I think we're going to have to do an incomplete on that. Just especially right there early on, the off course with the big decel. That, to me, the compounded error right there is going to make it very difficult to chase, unfortunately. So that's going to be an incomplete for Dustin Miles.
All right, so breaking it down here, it does look like there's going to be an incomplete there for Dustin Miles, unfortunately. Our third incomplete of this qualifying session as we now see our next driver, Trenton Croft, in the burnout box. White Plate Imports Toyota JZX90, our next driver up. Just a few more drivers here to go. We are at the 25th place driver. We've got 35 drivers here, but we just heard that Eric Medici is going to be bowing out of competition. He was going to be our third driver from this point on, and it looks like he is going to be out altogether, is what I'm hearing over the radio. So unfortunately for him, that will bring us down to 34 drivers. That will adjust the bottom 8 quite a bit. But let's focus our attention here on Trenton Croft as he goes for his first run of the afternoon. Taking that slow approach out of the chicane, now starting to build some speed into that initiation. Flowing over to that far side of the track, starting to get back on throttle, but stays tight there on that inside clip, actually hits it quite a bit. Trying to find some grounding here and some consistency for the judges to look at. Pretty good job on that inside clip, though it was from a tighter side. And this last outside zone, unfortunately, he's way on the inside. So Ryan, we are starting to see some tendencies from drivers in certain areas of the course, some challenges with some grip, but mistakes that have also been varied as well.
Yeah, it looked like a long handbrake pull there coming to inside clip 1, and he was a little tight on that clip, hit the clip, maybe even got a tire up on that rumble strip pretty significantly. Misses outside zone 1. Like you said, came to inside clip 2 pretty tightly, but came sort of on the wrong line. He was a little bit early apexing it, and then coming through outside zone 3 off significantly there as well. So he will have some pretty big deductions on line. Unfortunately, just based on where his car was positioned throughout the run.
All right, so score starting to come in. A few mistakes there as we are seeing our next driver get into the burnout box, who is Human Rahimi. But the score coming in at a 60 puts him in 20th position. And you can see where those deductions took place. Bottom 8 drivers, the lowest 8 scores after the first lap of the entire field will then do a second lap to fill the remaining positions open to complete the top 32. Right now we've got 3 incompletes, so it will be those drivers plus the 5 lowest scores above that, and that will make up our bottom 8. We'll see those drivers run again, and that will finish qualifying. Then we'll have our halftime break, and then the rest of the afternoon is the pro guys as they will do their practice and qualifying session to finish up our day here Thursday But let's check out Hooman Rahimi. I am only Hooman, Nissan 370Z, first run. Nice little initiation there, but way overshooting that first outside zone, excuse me, that first inside clip and pushing to that outside zone. So still trying to get it dialed in here, and I think we're flirting with an incomplete a little bit. After that inside clip, he may be able to tie this off without an incomplete transpiring, but certainly getting very close there. Seeing some curious looks from the judges up here. And it seems like we are going to see some scores, but Ryan, walk us through what happened here with Hooman Rahimi.
His initiation took him really wide here. You can see a lack of angle in the car, and then he pours a lot of angle on as he goes a tire off there. Right there, we've got a deduction in angle, and then again right there, there's the compounding of errors here is just too great. I think we're going to have to incomplete this. Trying to put yourself in the chase car position, trying to stay behind that car, maintain drift would be next to impossible. To do in a clean manner, so it's not really what we're looking for in terms of a lead run. So we will give him an incomplete there on that first qualifying run.
So it was speculated, and now it is confirmed, Ryan. Hooman Rahimi getting an incomplete for, I guess, an unchaseable lead, an accumulation of mistakes. That was something that you guys highlighted in the drivers' meeting, and that's come up quite a bit in qualifying. It's not any one thing, but it's treating that qualifying run as a lead driver and then having to imagine a chase driver trying to compete behind that and really not being able to. So here we are, our qualifying leaderboard here in the FCP Euro knockout qualifying format. There it is right there, your top 20. And we've got scores all the way to 21 with just a handful of drivers left to go. I believe our next driver up is going to be Richard Advani in the HP Chasers Racing Drift Corvette. Has had an eventful season. It started in Orlando, dealing with a lot of weather and conditions, but it's beautiful out here. Big overshoot of that first inside clip. Second driver to do it. Trying to find the connection with the track, the car, the tires, everything that's required here in qualifying. And unfortunately, you can really hear the car struggling there, and another car that seems to be not really having the grip dialed in properly, way overshooting that outside zone or that inside clip, and then going into that outside zone. Ryan, I see some of the other judges looking at you. I mean, where does that put the unchaseable lead? Is it still chaseable in your mind here?
I'm gonna have to watch it again. You know, you watch it live, sometimes it's so glaringly obvious. This one was a little less for me, but it did look like low angle there from around the outside zone, number 2 area. It looked like he flowed through the course, but just a lot of errors, and you could hear a lot of clutch kicking at the near the finish line. So definitely trying to put power down. If it was straight right there at outside zone 2, it was very short, but stayed on throttle at least.
So I am hearing some,
I'm getting some
back and forth
yeah.
with you guys up here, Ryan, considering whether or not it's an incomplete.
Yeah. So looking at, you know, another group of mistakes, errors, and the straightening, you know, they both feel that it was a straightening that was severe enough to be an incomplete. So we're going to incomplete Advani once as well. So let's watch right here. Going to outside zone number 1. That was 2 tires off there. And then as we go to this area right here, the straighten that they saw right there would be considered severe enough to be an incomplete as well. And then I guess compounding those two errors, trying to put a chase car behind that would be difficult to chase. So we've got a cleanup crew out on the track right now, getting it cleaned up. So we did have a bit of a mess made out there.
Yeah, it looks like we may take a quick commercial break here as we clean up the track and get things dialed in. We got a little bit of debris that have come out on the course. We'll broom it off and take a quick break, come right back here, finish up qualifying here at the Link Engine Management ProSpec Championship. You are watching the FCP Euro knockout qualifying.
Link is the engine management solution for champions the world over. We know what it takes to win, pushing boundaries, performing under pressure, and having the best people on your team. Our tech support are performance specialists, available 24 hours and ready to talk one-on-one about your winning formula. Link ECU, the performance, reliability, and power to get to the podium.
GT Radio. Experience ultra high performance.
We all know Royal Purple for their exceptional motor oil. They keep my 1,000 horsepower drift car going year-round. And they have an exceptional array of products that help keep your engine's fuel system running clean, powerful, and cool. Royal Purple Max Atomizer cleans fuel injectors to restore maximum flow and get back that fuel economy we all want. Max Clean is a state-of-the-art performance fuel system cleaner that deeply penetrates deposits in your fuel system. Max Clean cleans more parts in your engine and cleans them better. Royal Purple Max Boost is a high-performance octane booster and fuel treatment that helps increase the octane of your fuel. For real. Max Boost is an energy drink for your engine. Purple Ice reduces engine coolant temperatures. It helps prevent overheating and extends the life of your water pump. 4-Ways Purple can help your engine. Royal Purple Performance Products. Find them at an auto parts dealer near you.
All right, well, welcome back here to the Utah Motorsports campus. It is the Link Engine Management ProSpec Championship. You are watching the FCP Euro Knockout Qualifying. Casey Cole, our big story of the day, leading the charge in 86, sitting in first place. Our next driver up, Alex Licklider. I am Ryan Sage alongside Judge Ryan Lantain. Jared Deanda will be bringing us the pro qualifying later on this afternoon as we finish up here. We've got just a few more drivers to go in our first run, and then we will move to the bottom 8. Our next driver up here just finishing up his burnout box. We've seen a lot of things transpire in this qualifying, Ryan. I think we've learned a lot about maybe driver setup, but walk us through our leader's run here. What stuck out to you, and what should fans understand about the way to drive this course?
Well, this run just came off as smooth from beginning to finish. You can see that the car is settled. The driver looks confident behind the wheel, on throttle, everywhere, essentially throughout the course, and placing the car where it should be placed. You can see nice and tight on that inside clip, nice and smooth through each zone, just no glaring errors, and placing the car in a very accurate position. You can see he wasn't even all the way deep in outside zone number 3. There are still points to be found out there on the track, but you know, he ended up in first with I believe it was a score of, was that 83 or 84? So that is what we're looking for: smooth, accurate, and just putting those transitions down in a confident manner and placing the car where it needs to be placed.
All right, well, let's see what Alex Licklider can do here in that non-stop tuning. Toyota GT86 in a decent start here. Uh-oh, front end washing out. Big mistake there towards outside zone 2. And again, you can hear the car just really not sounding like it's piping right at the rev limiter. A bit too much grip dialed in for a lot of these drivers. This has been kind of a constant theme, along with some mistakes in certain sections of the course. I think that's a no-brainer incomplete there, Ryan. And what do you think happened there with Alex?
Yeah, it just looked like he was pushing really hard to try to keep the car at angle, and maybe had a lift right there as he was transitioning. The car just snap oversteered. It's just, like I said earlier, and like you've been saying too, it just sounds like cars are really gripped up. And it may be a result of the size of this track. You know, it's a big stretch from, you know, inside clip number 2 to outside zone 3. And maybe they feel they need the grip in the car to get it to make it between those two zones, those two areas.
Yeah, no data, no real data for anyone, no real testing for anyone. First time for everybody, which is exciting, and also I guess I would imagine scary and challenging for the drivers and the teams, and having to think about the scramble from qualifying tonight or this afternoon to tomorrow's top 32 competition. And a lot more practice for those guys to come in tandem competition tomorrow as well, to try to get an understanding. But I'm sure a lot of data will be pulled off these vehicles to kind of figure out what adjustments and changes they need to make as we move on to our next driver here. Adam Knapik in that Donut Media Optima battery Nissan S14. Coming out close to where I live in Costa Mesa. His first run of the afternoon. Taking a good look at it here. Nice little snap, e-brake pull, back on throttle way early, just at the edge of that first inside clip, going a little bit long on that outside zone. Now struggling, going off course. Big rooster tail of dirt as he hits that inside clip. Looking much more settled here, but using very wide parameters on the course as he gets to this final outside zone. Sticks it there, landing good, but a bit of trouble there, Ryan, from outside zone number 1, outside zone 2, and the transition to that second inside clip before he kind of really got locked in and looked solid there through the remainder of the course.
Outside zone number 1 has 2 sets of rumble strips, so there's a normal size, you know, maybe 2-3 feet wide, and then beyond that there's another set of rumble strips. So it's a little deceiving. You can see he was just off a little bit on inside clip 1, but way off on outside zone number 1, and then way off on outside zone number 2. I say way off because he's not only off the track, but he's over the rumble strip into the dirt on the other side. So big error there in terms of depth, not really positioning the car where it should be placed. Coming to inside clip number 2 there, you can see his tires in the box. Pretty decent job through there, but a lot of errors had already been made earlier on. So he did manage to maintain momentum through all of those areas. So no incomplete given at that point, but definitely some errors.
So Ryan, it looks like it's a scoreable run, but certainly some deductions there, as it does look like we may need a course cleanup on the areas where there was a significant amount of dirt brought up on or near the course. It's a 70 for Adam Knapik. That puts him in 18th position. And you can see where those deductions were made. Not too bad in the angle category, but really those sectors for style and for line playing the biggest role overall, knocking off 30 total points from his collective score. And now we are down to just 2 drivers left. 3 drivers left. Javier Martinez, Carlos Arrieta, and Jack Davis will be our final driver of the afternoon before we move to the bottom 8. High score so far in 86 as the drivers adjust to being on this track for the very first time. And Ryan, the standings are so important. This is the last event. Points can be accumulated. 1 point spread between Robert Thorne and Dimitri Brutsky. And let's take a look at the top 5 where they fall coming into this event. This will change a little bit because of the points allocations. We've got 3 points available for first place, second place available second place, 2 points and 1 point for third. And the third place man there, Evan Bogovic. Let's learn a little bit more about him as we go to a 2-minute piece as we clean up the course.
What's up, everybody? My name's Evan Bogovic. I'm out here at St. Louis, round 3 of PROSPEC. Here piloting the Field Suspension Pedal Commander S14.9, originally piloted by Odi Botchkis. Here we have the engine. It's a LS427 with a Vortec YSI V3. It makes around 960 to the wheels and 900 foot-pounds. We run an Andrews dog box, 4-speed. We're not allowed to run sequentials in PROSPEC, so that's what we're limited to if we want a decent transmission or a GSR box. Rear mount radiator. Luckily, this car runs really, really cool. I can do, even in this 105 degree, 70% humidity, I can do 2 laps and come off the track at right around 203. Every single time, no problems whatsoever. So we also run WiseFab front and rear, which helps dial in all the grip we need and all the angle we need. And of course, we run Feel, as Feel is one of our top sponsors, along with Odi is the owner of Feel. So it makes just a great combo with setup and everything else that we need. It just goes hand in hand completely, because we're limited to a 255 tire.
All right, so your man there, Evan Bogovic. Third place in the overall championship. Javier Martinez is our next driver up. Seeing triple-digit speeds on initiation from a lot of these drivers, and we still have the Pro Series yet to come. Very fast technical course. First time for a lot of drivers. 86 leads the way. Casey Cole, a little bit of understeer, front end, losing some grip coming through that inside clip. Starting to kind of dial it in here. Looking much better in this section of the course. Smooth through that second inside clip, moving to the outside zone, number 3 in the final one. A lot of angle there, trying to hold it, but he's going to pull off that zone. Choosing to keep angle in the car rather than draw the angle down and stay into that zone a little bit longer. Probably a good move there. Would have looked like a much bigger mistake, but will receive some deductions there. You can see getting close to the edge of the course, Ryan, and on that initiation had a little trouble there as well.
Yeah, good job through outside zone 1, outside zone 2. Coming to inside clip number 2, I liked his line through here, looked pretty solid. Could be just slightly tighter, but overall, really great job there. I think his biggest mistake on line was outside zone 3. You can see quite a bit inside, not in the box at all. So that'll be the biggest deduction for him there, and it's an area that's worth 10 points. So overall, though, pretty great run. I think that was really the major deduction for him in that run.
Well, if you are just joining us, we have made it to our last 2 drivers here in the ProSpec Championship, the FCP Euro Knockout Qualifying. After this, we will go to our bottom 8. And then if you're just joining us here in the live auditorium or the venue, we will have our break, followed by the pro guys. The rest of the afternoon is pro practice and pro qualifying. Pro practice starts at 1:30 local time. So if you're in California, that's about an hour after. This is mountain time here in Utah, so just bear in mind. Waiting for the scores to drop here for Javier Martinez. And what do we got? Do we have it? I saw something come in. All right, it looks like it is a 70 there. 70 for Javi Martinez. Nope. Is that the right score, you guys? Which one is it? Okay. That's the confirmed score. 75 for Javi Martinez. That is the official score. 14th position for him, as now we'll move on to Carlos Arrieta, our second to last driver. He is on the line, ready to go. Well, these last 2 drivers have basically seen as much as they could possibly see from the other competitors. They know what they need to do. Gets that nice big angled initiation, has to pull a little bit angle out of it. He does get back on throttle, but unfortunately drives almost straight there from outside zone 1 to 2 in between. Gets to that inside clip. Seems like he's having much more stability here in this latter section of the course. Final turn, doesn't fill that outside zone. And we've seen quite a few of the mistakes that have been made by some of the field, very consistent with each other. I imagine there's going to be a lot learned after this session, Ryan.
Yes, right there you can see pulled out angle and an added angle again as he was going by the inside clip. Misses outside zone 1, better on outside zone 2. Pretty decent job here coming by inside clip number 2. And as he transitions for outside zone 3, gets into the zone very early but then leaves it pretty much immediately. Maybe let's see from this angle here. So got to the edge of the track, didn't quite get to the inside of that box, just to the outside of it, and stayed there for the entirety of the run through that outside zone 3 area. So some points left on the board for sure through outside zone 3, but couple of nice areas, couple of not so good. You know, outside zone number 1 was missed almost entirely, so some points left on the board there for sure.
All right, so as we await the final, or excuse me, the score here for Carlos Arrieta, Jack Davis is in the burnout box, and there it is. It's a 62. So the bottom 8 plus the incompletes and the drivers that did not make it to this event looks like it's going to be a pretty standard bottom 8. That looks like, from the math that I can tell, it's probably going to be 32, 31 down as you get a look at it. Madison sitting there at 59, and everybody else, we got an incomplete, and we've got Davis yet to go. So it looks like it's going to be with the drivers that have bowed out of competition, not made it to competition, it looks like we're going to have your pretty standard bottom 8 here. So 32 down. Jack Davis, our last driver up. Final opportunity here, one and only opportunity to make it into the top 24. Let's see what he can do here. Nice little initiation, trying to get settled, but goes way wide on that first inside clip. We've seen that from quite a few drivers, mismanaging speed coming in that section. Oh, he's slowing it down. Uh-oh, getting really, really close to an unchaseable lead there. Oh, drive straight again. You know, I'm no judge, but I've seen enough to know that that is most likely going to be an incomplete. That will pretty much guarantee, as I'm seeing some confirmations now from the rest of the judges, that will be an incomplete. That's going to guarantee that he goes to the bottom 8. And that will wrap things up for us here on the first run. So unfortunately, Ryan, Jack Davis came out of the gate really hot, really went wide on that first inside clip. And then from that point forward, looks like he was just struggling to keep the car in drift. But because it is an incomplete, I'm not sure if we're going to see the run back. Actually, let's see if we can get the run back again, just so you can comment on where the incomplete took place, and then we'll take our break and come back and do the bottom 8.
Yeah, that going off of inside clip 1, that seriously it's going to throw you off definitely for the rest of the course. But it sounded like there was a lot of grip in this car as well, it sounds like. So inside clip 1, way wide here. Magically somehow stays on the course for outside zone number 1, but there is a serious straighten right there. You can see the handbrake pull to get the car sideways again, and then right here there's a lack of angle again. So what I would say is the earlier straighten with a lack of forward momentum in that area just led to an unchaseable run that in a tandem situation would not be chaseable by a chase car.
All right, so a first of the year, a pretty traditional bottom 8 is on the way next here in the Link Engine Management ProSpec Championship. You are watching the FCP Euro Knockout Qualifying. 8 more runs to go, and then we'll have our top 32. It looks like it could just be a reordering of that bottom 8 based on how many competitors have actually made it to the line this afternoon. So let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. We'll regrid the bottom 8 and get this underway.
Level up like Adam LZ and get rewards. Head to AutoZone and buy 4 or more NGK Iridium or Ruthenium HX spark plugs to earn a $5 bonus reward. Add an NGK ignition coil or an NTK oxygen sensor on the same transaction and get a limited edition Adam LZ t-shirt. Offer ends August 23rd, so act now to score the deals. Power, passion, performance. from the ignition and sensor specialists, NGK and NTK. Visit AutoZone.com for more details. Some restrictions may apply.
Rockstar Energy Drink. This is Matt Wall, the Twin Turbo 350Z. Tanner fast going through the paces. Solid line here. Great angle.
Woo! Good initiation from Don. Did you see that faint flip entry? Just gangster right there.
Great job right there by Osmo, but look at Odie Bocci's diving right in on the attack.
Positioning now. Ryan Turf really needs to show up. He went off course. Tightens it up to the front clip. Astro's ready. The Norwegian hammer gets sweated by Denofa. And then he just keeps on going past. And Frederick Osmo fills all that outside zone. Michael, that's a right there.
Look at him roll tide. Here we go.
Final outside zone line. Pretty straightforward.
Outside zone.
Frederick Osmo right there. And now bring around that final clip.
Approaching, pulling some tire out.
So qualifying playing a role here in Long Beach.
When I'm flying, I put my helmet on, my visor down, my mask up. You don't know who I am. Whether I'm African American, Asian American, Hispanic, white, male or female. You just know I'm an American airman kicking your butt. I'm General C.Q. Brown Jr. Come join us.
In my 1,000 horsepower competition drift car, I use Royal Purple XPR 5W50. XPR is specifically formulated to increase horsepower and torque in high performance and racing engines. And its revolutionary Cinerlic additive technology and zinc phosphorus fortified formulation provides the highest level of protection against heat and wear. The new 550 is all killer, no filler. It has better high temperature performance than any other 2050 engine oil. The result is a performance oil that protects like no other, utilizing superior base oils and additives. It's what sets Royal Purple apart from the rest, and what is also transferred down to their HPS high performance street oil, which is what I run in my daily drifter. So from here to here, all you get is extreme performance from the synthetic experts. Royal Purple.
All right, we are back. Beautiful Grantsville, Utah, here at the Utah Motorsports campus. We are at the tail end of the FCP Euro knockout qualifying and learning that because Medici went out of competition altogether, Eric Medici going out of competition, that actually leaves us with 31 drivers. That means our number one qualifier will get a bye tomorrow. There is your bottom 8, Madison, Wadman, O'Connor, Miles, Rahimi, Advani, Licklider, and Davis. So it's going to be a sorting unless any of those drivers double incompletes. If they double incomplete, could possibly leave some additional bye opportunities for second place, third place qualifying, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see Derek Madison go first. He has a score. He's safe. He's guaranteed in. Just a reshuffling for him. But the rest of the drivers have a little bit on their hands here because they have an incomplete and they do need to get a score on the board in order to be in competition for tomorrow. So a little bit less stress on Derek Madison, Ryan. He's really just looking for that bettering of the score, trying to come out top here and put himself in a position to get that best possible qualifying bracket that he can, but he is safe from being eliminated, which is the most important part of competition so far.
All right.
Madison, green light, here he goes. Competition points this weekend, the same as they always are. Fighting for those really, really, really close distances between first and second place. But and Madison comes unstuck there. So unfortunately for him, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, he's safe, but he's not going to be able to better his score. The best he can get is a 59 now. But he will be in competition no matter what. And people can still go home because we have many drivers with an incomplete. You must get a score to move into the bracket. If you don't get a score, that's double incompletes. We have nowhere to put you. So really, really important for the remaining drivers here to put up a 1, a 2, a 3, any kind of score other than an incomplete on these second runs here. I've never seen a 1 or a 2 or 3 though, Ryan, I'm just giving you the example. All right, so final little completion of the burnout box here with Derek Madison, kind of in an unanticipated way getting an incomplete, having us to move forward in competition a little bit quicker here. This is going to be Brian Wadman. Seemed like he had it together in that first run. It was more of a minor situation that led to a major incomplete. Hopefully he can take what he learned in that run number 1, apply it here, get a score on the board. Got a lot of really interested spotters looking on hand here. Big pressure situation. This is the season. First time this is the season for one of the drivers. Don't get a score here, season is over. Brian Wadman hits that first inside flip, gets to the outside zone. You gotta imagine what it's like in the cockpit of that car right here as he gets to this section of the course. He should be safe here. Most drivers seem to make it through this section without an incomplete. 3, 2, 1, score done. And he will live another day. Seeing the scores come in here for the judge that I am closest to, which is the line judge, Ryan. He definitely did not mess up in a situation where there was heavy pressure on him here to get a score.
Yeah, you can see a couple of little bobbles here and there, Ryan, but overall, smooth run, missed inside clip 2. Does a pretty good job on outside zone number 3 here. Gets his tire in the box and keeps it in there pretty much the entire way around. Maybe right on the white line through the latter portion there, but overall, good job from Brian Wadman.
So great job not succumbing to the pressure there. I wonder if he recognized that that was the season for him had he not made a completed run. It's always difficult to know exactly just how much pressure these drivers are feeling at any given point in competition. We've just begun. It's not even lunchtime yet. We're just getting to that point in the day, and people's competitive career or competitive season is on the line here. We'll be moving on to our next driver here in the bottom 8. It is going to be Rye O'Connor. Every driver, just a reminder from here on out, O'Connor, Miles, Rahimi. Looks like we're waiting for one more judge to go in, Judge 1. And there we go. 78 for Brian Wadman. So this is just for reordering. This will put him at the top of the leaderboard for the bottom 8, so he'll surpass Derek Madison. And Rye O'Connor will be our next driver up. O'Connor all the way down to Davis have incompletes. If you're just joining us here back from break, this is the bottom 8 part of competition. These drivers are trying to make it into tomorrow's competition because the remainder of these drivers all have incompletes. Here we go, Rye O'Connor, big pressure situation here. Gets into that initiation. So far keeping it together through that first inside clip. Hits that outside zone, transitioning around to outside zone 2. Circling back towards us, goes on the inside of that inside clip. That's gonna be off course. It's off course from the inside clip's perspective, and because this is such a unique course where we have the inside clip about mid-course there. I'm not sure it's been stated explicitly how the judges will treat that. Ryan, why don't you walk us through what you saw there and maybe give us some intuition on how you guys are going to think about this?
Yeah, so that was, from my perspective, an incomplete, Ryan. It looks like he was 3, potentially 4 wheels off at inside clip number 1. Yeah, 4 wheels off. It looks like he was completely on the inside of that inside clip. That is not the side of the inside clip you're supposed to be on. The front of the car should have been achieving that inside clip, not the rear. So you can see right there, that'll be 4 wheels off, essentially right there. So that'll be an incomplete for Ryan O'Connor.
Well, that is a massive bummer for Ryan O'Connor, who's had some really great moments this season trying to put together his program. The series does require a score to be levied on either one or your first or your second qualifying run with 2 incompletes. That means that is going to be all she wrote there for Ryan O'Connor. Sadly, here in the FCP Euro knockout qualifying, Dustin Miles, our next driver up. This is his opportunity here to pick up a score. We saw Brian Wadman lead the way with a great score on his run. Madison also has a score. He's sitting on a 59. We're looking for our next score to drop in as the light is ready to be, or the sign to go is being given here. And we are here in the clear to send. Miles, his last run of qualifying. What can he do here? Looking pretty good so far. Looking comfortable on that initiation, but floating it out. Wait, oh no! And the front end completely washes out. Another incomplete. Another qualifying coming to an end, and also a season for Dustin Miles. Very unfortunate there.
Is that another case of the announcer's curse, Ryan? What do you think?
So. So I shouldn't say people are doing good. Oh man. No replays coming through. That's a big bummer there for Miles. You can sense the frustration even while not really seeing him in the cockpit, but just from the attitude of the car and driving off course there. 2 incompletes, not able to move forward in competition, sadly. And unfortunately, it was a mistake early on in the run, Ryan, that got him right after initiation. That front end washing out, unable to complete the run, going completely off course. All right, so Hooman Rahimi, our next driver up, finishing out his burnout box. We've seen incompletes from O'Connor and Miles. Wadman and Madison are in. Rahimi, Advani, Lickletter, and Davis are our remaining drivers. And we are seeing that with some of these incompletes, not only are drivers going out of competition and done for the year, we're seeing some open spots in those number 1, 2, and 3 qualifying competitors. First time all year we've had maxing out at 37 drivers, but some of the things that have transpired put us in a really interesting situation as we focus our attention back here on course to Hooman Rahimi. Uh-oh, floating it out, losing a little bit of momentum. He's in a tough position too. I think smartly takes that inside line to keep angle in the car. At that point, it looked like Ryan, he was getting to a point where had he tried to extend out, the car would have straightened out, gripped up, he would have gotten an incomplete. But it looks like the smart move there was to take that inside line and basically go 0 points and out in the final sector, right? Is that how you saw it here?
Yeah, you can see right here he misses outside zone 2 completely, which puts him on a line that misses inside clip 2, but then makes him have to transition very early, which means he doesn't have the momentum to get out to outside zone 3 at all. So the line portion is going to suffer pretty significantly on this. You can see 1 tire drop, a bobble. There was nothing there that would say incomplete overall. It just looks like a very sloppy run, unfortunately, that's going to give him a low score.
All right, so we really only need any points to come up. The shuffling, probably not the most important thing on his mind right now, just wanting to make it through into tomorrow's competition for Hooman Rahimi. I think he accomplished that. No clear signs here of any judge giving Hooman Rahimi an incomplete. The score at this point, not super relevant. He's into tomorrow's competition, but let's confirm the score. And there it is, a 52.52 for Houman Rahimi. Gets the job done. And that's all that matters here. So great job by him as he will finish up qualifying. He will be into the competition bracket for tomorrow. As we move on to our next driver. There's how it's shaping up, Ryan. You can see scores few and far between on this bottom 8. O'Connor and Miles are gone. Rahimi moves into 26th place. Wadman still out front with that high score of a 78, but the highest he can go is 24. This is Richard Advani. Taking that position down that long front straight through the chicane. Trying to get settled here after initiation. Gets to that inside clip, but a little bit wide. There's the first outside zone. There's outside zone number 2. Here's the inside clip number 2. So far, so good for Richard Advani. The final transition. And he lives to fight another day. Great job right there by Richard Advani, getting enough done. As we said, the scores for these bottom 8 really not important because nobody's getting knocked out. The reshuffling is of a secondary importance. It's really just about being in competition at this point. Ryan, walk us through what you saw there from Richard Advani.
Like you said, he made it through the course. He had a couple of errors throughout the course, things he'll need to clean up. He has another practice session tomorrow before competition, and him and his spotters should review this footage tonight, and then once they go into practice tomorrow, know what to work on, and that's filling the zones properly, getting to inside clip 1. Outside zone 3 here was a big one for points, and wasn't filling that one at all, so that area definitely should be looked at for tomorrow. But just overall, the cleaning up the run, filling up zones, getting the inside clips the way that he should be.
All right, so down to our last handful of runs here in PROSPEC qualifying. Beautiful day out here so far. Weather's been amazing as we've come in here to this market for the very first time. Utah Motorsports campus been tremendous to work with so far. This incredibly fast, dynamic, and diverse course. Looking for Judge 2 to go in, and it looks like he is now submitted. And here we go. There it is, Richard Advani, 73. A good run, well appreciated by the judges. 25th position, he's locked in. There's Alex Leclerc. It's a yes or no answer. Can he do it? Can he stay in competition? Move on into tomorrow, into the finals, to the final event of the year? Or is this the last run of the year for him? A lot of pressure on these drivers with incompletes. Looks like he's going the conservative route, the smart route. Don't get overly dramatic, don't get overly dynamic. Make it through the run. Stay in drift. Don't go off course. No big mistakes. And it looks like after what was a little bit of a close call there from outside zone 2 to inside clip 1 in the reduction of angle and a little bit of a wonky line, he kept it together, got a score. It's not going to be the greatest. Let's take a look at it again, Ryan.
Yeah, like you said, it was a fairly conservative run. The initiation was very safe, off of inside clip 1, into outside zone number 1. Outside zone 2, missed it pretty much entirely with a lack of angle. Same thing for inside clip 1. You can see a lack of angle there, some bobbles. So it is a score. You can hear some clutch kicking near the end. Sounds like a lot of grip in that car as well. Not the prettiest, but it'll be a score on the board.
Well, you can see the zones definitely getting marked up there. We started off the morning, and the track has been gracious enough to allow us to use a paint to paint the zones, and you can see some of the inside clip 1 and 2 are still kind of there. The outside zone's a little bit faded away, but we will have all these freshly painted for the pro drivers
as they will go begin their practice session at 1:30, and then the remainder of the afternoon will be for qualifying for the pro guys. That'll put both brackets to be known by the end of day today, meaning the remainder of the weekend, as we see Alex Leclerc getting a 60, getting our third position there, which is 26th, I believe, or 27th. But by the end of today, we will know our top 32 brackets for both Friday and Saturday. And here's Big JD, Jack Davis, our final competitor. Again, another yes or no answer here. Can he make it into competition, or is this going to be it for him? Jack Davis, our last driver to leave the line in the FCP Euro knockout qualifying. Nice little snap there, e-brake pull, starts to get back on throttle well before that inside flip. Looks like he's also playing that conservative get it done job. Starts to pull a little bit of angle out of the car, get a little bit hairy there for a second. Uh-oh. That transition got real shallow on the angle, but it looks like, again, another driver narrowly escaping, pulling it off, not succumbing to the pressure here, but getting very, very close. A few scary moments, but it looks like Jack Davis will move into the top 32. And Ryan, take us through this final run here in the FCP Euro knockout qualifying.
Yeah, a lot of areas missed here. Big handbrake pulls, so the style judge will get him there. A lack of angle approaching inside clip number 2, and right here, that transition was very stepped. Unfortunately, he's going to lose some points, but fortunately, he's going to, I think, get into top 32 competition.
So job well done by all the competitors here this afternoon. Started the weekend with 35 drivers, whittled down to 31 after drivers not able to make it into competition. We'll have a number of buys tomorrow as we re-rack and look at how this field was broken down. Casey Cole, congratulations. You are our #1 qualifier unofficially with a score of 86. And the rest of the day we'll be thinking about how to prepare for this one-of-a-kind track, as it's a 56 that locks in for Jack Davis. He confirms that he's in competition for tomorrow. And Ryan, it's been certainly fun and interesting to watch both practice and qualifying as drivers have gotten used to this course. We've now seen the ProSpec drivers finish their afternoon. We move on into the Pro Championship. That begins at 4:30 local time. There's a practice session for the live audience that's here that starts at 1:30. Tell us quickly, what do you expect from that?
Qualifying for the Pro?
Yes.
I think it's going to be fast, smoky, and I think they're going to have an awesome time on this track. It's going to be fantastic.
All right, we'll take a look there at our top 32 bracket unofficial. Casey Cole, #1. Tommy Miller coming in at 4. Haley at 2. Jaeger at 3. Those drivers will be in the rest of this weekend's competition. Brutsky also in competition as well, staying in that top 10. Rich Whiteman, Robert Thorne, all the big players are there. We will see you guys at 4:30. Enjoy the show as we prepare for the first ever event here at the Utah Motorsports campus. This is round 7 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship and round 4 of the Link Engine Management ProSpec Championship.
Pretty much now it